His first story comes from a young man named Kyle, who posted about his experience on a road trip forum back in 2015. He was 24 at the time, fresh out of college with a degree in business, feeling that mix of excitement and uncertainty about what came next. To celebrate graduation and blow off some steam, he and his best buddy Ryan decided to take a cross-country drive from New York to Los Angeles. They had been friends since high school, sharing a love for adventure and bad jokes. And this trip was their way to mark the end of one chapter and the start of another. Kyle's old SUV, a beat-up model from his dad, was their chariot, packed to the brim with camping gear like tents and sleeping bags for roadside stops. A cooler full of sandwiches, energy drinks, and a few beers for when they parked, stacks of snacks like chips and jerky, and an old paper map folded in the glove compartment just in case the GPS acted up. They also threw in a portable speaker for blasting their favorite playlists, everything from rock anthems to hip-hop beats. As they pulled out of Kyle's driveway in upstate New York early one morning, the sun was rising, casting a golden glow over the suburbs, the air fresh with the scent of mowed lawns and morning dew. They high-fived, cranked the music, and hit the highway, laughing about all the stupid things they do along the way, the open road stretching out like a promise of freedom. The first few days were everything they hoped for, pure fun and no responsibilities. They cruised through Pennsylvania, stopping at quirky roadside attractions like a giant shoe house for silly photos, grabbing greasy burgers at local diners where the waitresses called them honey, and shared stories about travelers passing through. They camped in state parks, building fires that crackled warmly against the cooling nights, roasting marshmallows and sharing beers while staring at the stars, talking about dreams of starting their own businesses or traveling the world. The landscapes changed from green hills to flat farmlands, the air shifting from humid to dry, and they felt invincible, the miles flying by with endless conversations and inside jokes. Ryan was the navigator, pointing out detours for scenic views, while Kyle handled most of the driving, the engine's steady hum a backdrop to their banter. But on the fourth day, as they entered West Virginia, they decided to take a scenic route through the Appalachian Mountains to avoid the boring interstate. The map showed it as a winding path with beautiful vistas, but locals at a gas stop warned them it got dark and twisty, with spotty cell service. They shrugged it off, young and overconfident, stocking up on more snacks and continuing on, the road narrowing as trees thickened around them. It was around 7 p.m. when they veered onto this lesser-known highway, the sun dipping low, casting long shadows through the dense forest. The air grew cooler, carrying the earthy scent of moss and pine, and the road twisted like a snake, uphill and down, with sharp drops on one side. They had the windows down, enjoying the breeze, music playing softly as they chatted about stopping for the night soon. By 9 p.m., full darkness had set in, the moon hidden behind clouds, their headlights the only light piercing the black void, illuminating fallen leaves scattered on the pavement and the occasional reflective eyes of animals in the underbrush. The radio signal faded, so they switched to a playlist on Ryan's phone. But even that glitched now and then. Suddenly, the engine started making a weird rattling noise, like something loose under the hood. Then it sputtered and lost power. "What the hell?" Kyle exclaimed, pulling over to the narrow shoulder, the gravel crunching loudly under the tires in the quiet night. They popped the hood, flashlight beams from their phones dancing over the engine components, steam rising slightly in the cool air. Neither was a mechanic. Kyle knew basics from his dad, but nothing looked obviously wrong. No leaks or broken belts. The area was completely remote. No houses or lights in sight, just thick woods on both sides. The only sounds, crickets chirping and distant owls hooting, the air damp with a hint of incoming rain. They tried their phones, no bars, the screens glowing uselessly in the dark. "Great!" Stuck in the middle of nowhere, Ryan said, half joking but with an edge of worry. They decided to flag down the next car for help. Standing by the SUV with hazard lights flashing, the orange glow pulsing like a beacon. Minutes felt like hours, the forest seeming to close in, branches rustling in a light wind that carried the scent of wet earth. Finally, around 9:30 p.m., headlights appeared around a bend. A pickup truck, old and rusted, slowing to a stop in front of them. Two locals got out. Older men in worn flannel shirts and jeans, faces weathered, one with a beard, the other chewing tobacco. "Car trouble?" the bearded one asked, voice gruff but not unfriendly. Kyle explained the situation, and they looked under the hood, shining their own flashlights, muttering about a possible loose timing belt or fuel line issue. "We can tow you to our garage up the road," the other said. "Ain't far, and we can fix it quick." Relieved? Kyle and Ryan agreed, hooking up a tow chain from the truck to their SUV, the metal clinking as it locked in place. They climbed into the pickup's cab, squeezing in with the men, the interior smelling of cigarette smoke and oil, tools rattling in the back. The truck started up, engine growling, and they pulled away, the SUV trailing behind. The brothers, they introduced themselves as Earl and Jed, drove in relative silence at first, the road bumping along, headlights cutting through the increasing fog. But as they turned onto an even narrower side path, veering away from what looked like the main highway, a sense of unease began to creep in for Kyle and Ryan. The path was rough, more dirt than pavement, branches scraping the sides of the truck like fingers. The forest denser, blocking out any remaining light. "The garage is this way?" Ryan asked casually, trying to sound nonchalant. Earl, driving, smiled oddly in the dashboard light. "Shortcut, boys. Saves time." Jed chuckled softly, but it didn't reach his eyes. The air in the cab felt thicker, the smell of sweat mixing with the tobacco. And Kyle noticed there were no mechanic tools visible, just hunting rifles racked in the back window. Gleaming faintly, tension started to build as the drive dragged on, longer than the "ain't far" they were promised. The brothers began talking more, their conversation turning strange and disjointed. "Lots of visitors like you get lost in these woods," Earl said, glancing in the rear view. "Some never find their way out." Jed added, "Yeah, the mountains keep 'em. Good for business, though." Kyle and Ryan exchanged looks, hearts starting to beat faster, the tow chain clanking behind them like a warning. The path narrowed further, the truck bouncing over roots and potholes, fog rolling in thick, reducing visibility to a few feet. Kyle's mind raced. Were these guys legit or something sinister? He whispered to Ryan, "Something feels off. No garage would be this far out." Ryan nodded, eyes wide, the air in the cab now stifling, a metallic taste of fear in their mouths. Suddenly, the truck stopped in a small clearing with an old, rundown cabin, its windows dark, no sign of a garage or tools. "Here we are," Earl said, turning off the engine, the silence rushing in, broken only by distant animal calls. Jed grinned, "Come on in, we'll get you fixed up." But their tones had changed, more menacing, eyes glinting in the low light. Panic hit Kyle like a wave. He bolted from the truck, yelling for Ryan to follow, their feet pounding the dirt as they ran into the woods, thorns tearing at their clothes and skin, branches whipping their faces. The brothers gave chase, shouting curses, flashlights bobbing wildly behind, boots thudding on the ground. Kyle's lungs burned, breaths ragged in the cold mountain air, the scent of pine and fear overwhelming. They dodged trees, hearts racing, the chase feeling endless in the dark forest, fog disorienting them, every shadow a potential threat. After what felt like forever, the shouts faded, the brothers giving up or losing them. Kyle and Ryan hid behind a fallen log, panting, waiting until dawn before hiking out to a main road, flagging down a passerby for help. Police recovered the SUV, but the brothers and their truck were gone. No trace. The twist came later when investigating. The area had a dark history of disappearances, with rumors of a family of recluses preying on stranded travelers, luring them to their cabin for robbery or worse. Some victims were never found. Kyle and Ryan still take trips, but they avoid back roads, and at night they hear branches scraping, wondering if the brothers are still out there, hunting for their next visitors. The second story is from a woman named Amanda, who shared it in a 2018 podcast. She was in her mid-20s, a music lover working as a barista in Chicago, and she had tickets to a big festival in Nashville. Excited for her first solo road trip, she planned the drive down I-65, a straight shot through Illinois and Indiana, figuring it would be easy and fun. Amanda's compact car was her pride, clean, reliable, with a good sound system for her playlists. She packed light: festival clothes, a sleeping bag for a cheap motel, snacks like granola bars and fruit, a cooler with water and sodas, and her phone loaded with podcasts and music. Leaving in the afternoon to beat rush hour, the sun was high, the highway busy with commuters, the air warm with the promise of southern heat. She sang along to her favorite bands, feeling independent and alive, the miles ticking by with views of farmlands and small towns. The drive was smooth at first, stopping for gas and a quick dinner at a fast food joint, chatting with the cashier about the festival. But as night fell around 7 p.m., she took a detour through rural Indiana for what the map showed as a scenic route. Less traffic, more countryside charm. The road narrowed, flanked by cornfields and occasional woods, the sunset painting the sky in pinks and oranges. Amanda rolled down the windows, the air cooling with the scent of harvested crops and distant bonfires. By 8 p.m., full darkness had set in, stars twinkling above, the highway mostly empty save for the occasional truck. She switched on her high beams, the light cutting through the night, illuminating reflective road signs and the white lines guiding her. Around 8:30 p.m., she pulled into a small gas station to top off the tank and use the bathroom. The place was quiet, a few pumps under harsh fluorescent lights, locals pumping gas or buying cigarettes inside. The attendant, a middle-aged woman, made small talk as Amanda paid, mentioning local legends about haunted back roads where drivers see strange things at night. Amanda laughed it off. "I'll be fine, just heading to Nashville." Back in the car, she grabbed a snack, turned up the music, and continued. The road now darker, fewer cars passing. Around 9 p.m., she noticed a vehicle behind her. An old model sedan with dim headlights, keeping a steady distance. At first, it was no big deal, but as minutes turned to half an hour, it didn't pass or drop back, just tailed her consistently. Unease began to stir. Amanda adjusted her speed, accelerating slightly, but the car matched her. She slowed, and it did too. "Weird," she muttered, glancing in the mirror more often, her heart beating a little faster. The road was straight here, fields on both sides, the air now cooler with a hint of moisture as fog started to form in low spots. She tried changing lanes, but the follower mimicked. Around 9:30 p.m., the car sped up, passing her on the left, but then slowed in front, forcing her to brake hard. Annoyed, Amanda passed it back, honking lightly, but the car repeated the maneuver, boxing her in, weaving to block her. Panic started to rise, her hands gripping the wheel, breaths quickening. "What is this guy doing?" she said aloud, voice shaky. No other traffic in sight, just the two cars dancing on the empty highway, the followers' windows tinted dark, hiding the driver. Around 10 p.m., her phone rang. An unknown number. Hesitant, she answered on speaker. "Hello?" A voice, male and calm, said, "Pull over, sweetie. Let's talk." Amanda's blood ran cold. "Who is this?" The voice laughed softly. "The one behind you. Pull over." She hung up, heart pounding, but it rang again, the voice now describing her car. Nice blue compact, Festival stickers on the bumper? Terror surged, tears welling, the air in the car feeling suffocating, a metallic taste in her mouth from fear. The pursuing car bumped her rear, a jolt that made her swerve, tires screeching on the pavement. Fog thickened, visibility dropping, the road twisting into wooded areas. Branches looming like threats, Amanda floored the gas, speed climbing, weaving to escape. But the car kept up, ramming lightly again. She screamed, "Leave me alone!" But the phone rang persistently, the voice taunting, "Can't run forever." In glimpses through the mirror, she saw the driver, a masked figure, face hidden, gesturing mockingly. The chase intensified, her car shaking at high speeds, fog like a wall, the scent of burning rubber faint as she braked hard around curves. Spotting lights of a town ahead, Amanda raced toward it, the pursuer backing off just as she reached civilization, vanishing into the night. At a police station, shaking, she reported it. Officers noting it matched a stalker's pattern harassing female drivers. The twist came months later when Amanda started receiving calls from that unknown number, the voice whispering her current location, even at home. She changed her number multiple times, but on road trips, she feels that presence, the highways holding secrets that follow you long after the drive ends. Our final story comes from a group of friends, Samantha, Tyler, and Zoe, who recounted it in a 2020 video. They were in their early 20s, recent college grads from Miami, heading to Key West for a beach getaway to unwind. The trip was spontaneous, packing Samantha's van with swimsuits, sunscreen, a cooler of drinks, snacks, and beach towels, excited for sun, sea, and parties. They left in the afternoon. The drive along US 1 scenic, with views of turquoise water and palm trees, bridges connecting the Keys like a chain over the ocean. The air was warm and salty, music blasting, laughter filling the van as they sang along. Stopping for fresh seafood at roadside shacks, the taste of lime and cilantro lingering, but they got a late start after a long lunch, hitting the road as the sun set, the sky turning vibrant hues of pink and purple over the water. They decided to drive through the night to reach Key West by morning. The bridges empty, waves gently lapping below. Around 11 p.m., on a long, isolated bridge over open ocean, the van's engine sputtered, lights flickering, then died completely, leaving them stranded in the dark. The only sounds the wind and water. "What now?" Zoe asked, checking her phone. No signal, the bridge too remote. They popped the hood, but saw nothing wrong, the salty air mixing with the hot engine smell. Minutes later, a van approached, pulling over. The driver, an older man with a friendly smile, offered help. "Looks like alternator trouble. I can tow you to my garage on the next key." Grateful, they accepted, hooking up the tow, climbing into his van, which smelled of fish and oil. He drove off the bridge, chatting about local life, but turned onto a side road, away from lights. Unease grew as the path led to a mangrove thicket, the man's demeanor shifting, locking the doors. At a rundown shack, he stopped. "Welcome to my garage." But inside was no tools, just chains and photos of guests. He locked them in, monologuing about collecting strays who wash up on the Keys. Terror hit, hearts racing, the air humid and stifling. Samantha found a loose tool, breaking a window while Tyler distracted him. They escaped into the mangroves, branches scratching, water splashing, running to the main road, flagging a car for help. Police arrested the man, finding evidence of past kidnappings. The twist? The garage was linked to a serial kidnapper presumed drowned years ago in a storm. The friends hear ocean waves at night, wondering if his victim's spirits linger, drawing people to that fateful spot. Which story scared you the most? Comment below and subscribe for more true horror stories.